Hello and welcome to another player interview here at Reds Fans. It's my pleasure to introduce Matt Tubbs. Matt, how are you doing?
Yeah, well, good, thank you. Yeah, very well. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you and your family coping? Best wishes in this lockdown period we're all going through.
Yeah, we're doing all right, to be fair. I've got a little girl who's 9.5 months old, so for this lockdown to come at this stage is kind of bittersweet because it means I can spend all the time with her because I'm not working at the moment because of the coronavirus. But on the flip side, she doesn't get to go see grandparents, aunties and uncles, so it's good that I'm spending all that time with her, which is brilliant, but she's not really spending any time with anyone else, which is quite frustrating. But on the whole, it's going all right at the minute.
I'm going to say, to kick it off, what would you say has been your greatest achievement in your football career?
I think it kind of goes without saying, it was taking sort of Crawley, like putting Crawley on the map as such. So obviously the season in the conference was an amazing season. Getting to the fifth round of the FA Cup was, people still talk about that, like it was yesterday. And for me, that would be, that was a dream for most people to play at Old Trafford, but to do it in the fifth round of the FA Cup, for me, it was, that's kind of one of my highlights.
Yeah, and having made some plans and for what you do after football, I saw that you got your B license as a coach. And is it more do you want to go down a sort of strength and conditioning avenue? I saw that's what you
yeah. So I sort of went part-time football with an eye on when football totally finishes. So I tried to get as many qualifications as I could within, because fitness is my passion. So I wanted to get my SNC, my fitness instructor, my massage, and trying to bulk up my CV as best I could, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do after football. And I kind of landed a job at Brockenhurst College as a football coach. And then there was loads of movement within teachers and staff there. And for the last 6 months there, I've been sort of teaching down there. So they've put me through my teaching qualification, which is really good. And it's something that I never really envisaged that I would do, but I am really enjoying it at the moment.
Moving on to the questions that the fans sent in, there's been lots this week. The first one that came in was from Sam Cook, and he said, going into the conference season where you scored like all the goals, as he put it, did you have a feeling how well you and the team would do, or did it sort of build the momentum as it was going?
Yeah, I think it was more of a building process, because I think obviously when I went in there as a player and Steve Evans kind of reshuffled everything around that season with so many new faces coming in, and we literally took game by game. Obviously Grimsby was the first game, and then you've seen the other games going on, and it was just a case of building the confidence. And I think as a team, we were such a tight knit, we kind of grew all together. And then it got to sort of Christmas time, and I think Wimbledon was sort of topping in around Christmas, and we were chasing them with games in hand. And yeah, like I said, it was just a confidence thing that builded throughout the season. And then when obviously the whole Man United, the amazing day was over, it was right, heads on it again. Now we've got the league to concentrate on and try and win, and we did.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying that it was 37 league goals you managed to score that season. I was just wondering, just watching the streams in recent weeks, it just seems like you had a really natural sort of finishing ability. Was that something that you had to work really, really hard at, or was that something that you had when you were growing up playing football, just that edge?
I've always, even when I was a kid, I always wanted to score goals, and that was my job, to score goals, and that's what I got paid to do. And I was lucky enough to play in a team that kind of knew everyone's strengths, because some clubs I've been at over my career where not everyone knows, and you don't really click as a team, but everyone knew each other's strength. Everyone knew where, so say if Serge had the ball, everyone knew what was going to happen. If Glenn Wilson had the ball at right back, 9 times out of 10 he'd hit Macca on the diag, and then you kind of like feeding off scraps a little bit. But it was, everyone knew each other's role, and that's credit to Steve Evans, because he built a team around not the best players in the league, but the team that would gel the most. And he did that, and like I said, we ended up romping the league, which was brilliant.
Yeah. The next question comes in from John Lucy, just a bit of fun. He says, you're hosting a dinner party. What 6 guests would you invite, past or present?
Yeah, it was Crawley players or just celebrities?
I think, anything really, as broad as you like.
I'd probably go Bex, because he's a winner. Everyone loves Bex. Mike Tyson. He's been in the gym again lately. He looks quite lively. I think he could be quite fun. Who else would there be? Probably go DiCaprio. I quite like his films as well. He's quite a character. Will Smith. He's a good guy. I need a girl, don't I? Margaret Robbie. I need to put a female in there. Otherwise, six, 7 guys around the table might get a bit awkward. And Borman. Got to be bully.
Yeah. All right. Wicked. That fits in nicely to the next question. Pat Harper. I suppose you've just hinted that you're pretty close with Danny Borman, the oldest player in the EFL at the moment. But Pat Harper wants to know who was the joker of the team while you were at Crawley, and what was the best prank that ever got pulled?
Best prank that I can say on here, or just the best prank?
Go for it. I mean,
there was, like I said, we had a dressing room that was relentless. Like, you had to come in and fit in. Like, if you come in and you try to be the big guy, you'd get shot down in an instant. We had like this, the Shearers, the Dempsters, the Nielsen's, the Hunts, the Bullmans, the McAllisters. The list is endless. So you had to come in and you had to find your place quite early doors. And I think probably the joker of the pack probably Foreman, Shearer, and Dempster and Nielsen. They were the 4 that you kind of had to watch all the time. And there was an incident. It was really, I remember it was really, really hot. And then Brodie just signed, and he come in thinking, he was a character, which he was. He was quite lively, but he come in and did it on day one, and he did something to Shears, Scott Shearer, and Shears didn't really take too kind to it. I generally can't remember what it was that he did, but Shears didn't find the funny side of it, and obviously went out training. Keepers come in a bit earlier, boiling hot day, must have been 30 degrees plus. Shears had a poo in a bag. Carry a bag, left it in Broads' car, got Broads' keys, put it in his car under his seat so he couldn't see it. And obviously a sweltering day, you can imagine a car. And we all remember, because Shears told us when we went out after food, Broads went to get in his car, he opened the door and his face could just tell a picture of how bad the smell was. He had water streaming out of his eyes. That's how bad the smell was. And obviously Shears put it in a position where Broads couldn't find it as well. So he had this poo in this car boiling hot for ages. So that was probably one of them that I probably can tell you, but the rest are under wraps for now.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Yeah, that is pretty extreme. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned John Dempster there, just someone that's gone into management with Mansfield since playing. Was that something that you could see he had the sort of trait for? Is there anyone else that you play with that you could stuck out and think maybe that's something that he could go into in the future?
Yeah, Dem's come in and he was an automatic leader, and he was, again, like I said, he was someone around the dressing room who you'd look up to, and 2, you can have a laugh with at the same time. So for him to get that job is, doesn't surprise me. I think he's ended up at Coventry now, doing the academy down there, and again, going from a manager at Mansfield, which is a big job, to an academy coach at Coventry again, that's just a big coach. It's a big job, that is. So fair play to Dempster for doing that. Other players, Ben Smith, he always loved the game and talked about the game the right way. And Simon Rusk, and I think them 2 now are working at Brighton. I think they're in the youth team, the academy down at Brighton. Again, it speaks volumes that the passion for football, what they have, and now they're going, working for a Premier League academy is, and under 23s, which Rusky does, is amazing.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's really good to see. Obviously, them all constantly developing after moving away from the club and their playing careers. Scott Solis comes in with the next question. He said, "How did it feel scoring against Hull City to get Crawley into the 5th round of the FA Cup?"
That was amazing. It was kind of a weird one, because it was a bit bittersweet again, because that was the time when I left. That was my last game for Crawley of that era, because then I went and signed for Bournemouth. And I kind of spoke to Bournemouth prior to that game, and I kind of knew the deal was done. And so I was going into that game knowing that this was potentially my last game. So And then obviously scoring the goal and winning and getting through to the fifth round was, getting through to the next round was amazing. And then obviously on the coach on the way home when everyone's celebrating, it's so much fun. You kind of sat there thinking to yourself, yeah, this is a hell of a group of lads here. Like, will it be the right decision for me to leave? But it was an amazing feeling to score the goal. And then obviously after that game, I ended up signing for Bournemouth.
Yeah. Scott also added, just as a second part, just wanted to know who were your closest friends at the club.
So probably my closest friend at the time for my first sort of spell there was probably Macca, Craig McAllister, because I'm from Bournemouth area and he's Southampton, so we used to travel in together every day, obviously there and back. So it was probably Macca, and we were strike partners as well. We formed a really good relationship on and off the pitch. So it was probably Macca, and then obviously as the season goes on and develops, you don't just have one person who you gravitate to. It was the whole group. The whole group was fantastic. There's not, like I said, people come in and people left because they didn't fit into the group, and you had to be really thick-skinned to come and fit into that group. And then, ultimately that's why we went and won the league, because we were at each other's backs. Yeah.
The next question comes in from Jed Jones. He said, when you return back on loan for your second spell at the club from the Cherries, was there anything different? Just to feel, was it obviously it was different because it was in the future, but what would you put that down to?
Yeah, again, it was kind of funny because I was at Bournemouth at the time, and obviously went on loan. John Gregory was manager, and I only signed a month loan originally, and it was kind of like a trial because John Gregory didn't really know who I was. Probably heard of my name, but I'm guessing he was getting voices from the outside saying, he's available at this price, go get him. But obviously John probably never saw me play apart from a few clips maybe. So I remember him saying, you're here for a month, but it's only on trial. So I'm thinking, okay, so Bournemouth put him on trial, but yeah, I kind of get that. And then obviously hit the ground running and train. I remember first training sessions, I ended up doing quite well in the training session. And he said from then on in, he said, we're going to extend it straight away to the end of the season. And that was brilliant for me because it's a club that I love, and to see out the season in League One was amazing for me.
He also added, was there any particular reason why you didn't end up signing on a permanent contract once again? Obviously, you had lots of options, I'd assume, at the time when the loan came to an end.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I generally don't know. I'm not sure if a new manager come in at the time, because I would have been open to having a conversation. I don't know who was manager after Gregory, or did he leave that summer? I generally don't know. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen, whether I had that conversation or not. It might have been Richie Barker maybe who come in, don't know. But I ended up signing for Wimbledon, I think, after that. So.
Next question comes in from JP, and he said, what was your favourite goal that you scored in a red shirt?
Favourite goal? You can probably see from the clips, I don't really score many from outside the box, more sort of like inside the 6-yard box, within the sort of penalty spot radius. But I suppose on my second spell, it would probably be the one against Wolves. I think there was a little bit of interlink on the right-hand side, and then it come to Jury. And Jury's kind of dinked it over to me, and I'm through with the keeper, and I've ended up dinking it over to the keeper. So it was probably that one. But again, I'm not one for spectacular goals. I'm just more one for having an idea where the ball's going to land in the box, and being the one there and beating the keeper with it.
Yeah. The next question comes in from Paul Hayward, someone you know.
Yeah.
He said, he's asked two questions. First up, he said, do you remember him giving you any stick for joining AFC Wimbledon? This was another loan spell as well.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I vaguely remember him speaking to me when I did that, but I can't really remember what was said. I remember thinking to myself, because I haven't heard from him for a long time, and I remember sort of thinking to myself, it's quite strange having this call, but it's quite nice at the same time speaking to someone who we went on a journey with, and now we're touching base again. But I can't really remember what he said. Did he give me a stick, did he? I need to find out what he said.
I think so, yeah, but he also wanted to... Well, he also wanted to ask if you remembered the nice call that you had after you signed, just sort of burying the hatchet, I assume.
Oh, so at least I had one nice call with him, and that was good. But I remember speaking to him when I first signed for Crawley. I think I was with Steve Evans at the time, and I think or Stephen's passed my number on. And I remember having a chat with him, and he told me there's plans and what he wanted to do with the club, and what he was letting Steve have to go and develop the club and move forward. And he sold it to me really well, because I was living sort of Bournemouth way at the time, and at that time I was playing for Salisbury, and Salisbury got demoted 2 leagues for financial reasons. And I was thinking, what am I going to do? And Crawley, I spoke to obviously Steve, and I spoke to Paul, and they sort of sold me the dream as such, and said, what was going on, what the plans are going to be, which was fantastic. They wanted to get promoted, and we did. The journey along the way and the friends I've made along the way, it was a decision that was for me and my career and my life has been an amazing decision. So yeah, thanks Paul, thanks to Steve, and G and everyone behind the scenes, Reigns, to get it over the line and get the deal done was, again, like I said, for me and my life at the time and my life moving forward, it was amazing.
Okay, moving on to a bit off topic. We've got a Portsmouth fan got in touch, Milo Price. He wanted to know, after scoring freely at Portsmouth, when you initially signed for the club, is there any particular reason why you feel you sort of fell down the pecking order there, and before you headed out to Eastleigh, I think it was initially?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was more. It's football. At the end of the day, it's football. You get I signed under Andy Orford in January. I think I signed, and then obviously saw the end of the season out. Ended up League Two's top goal scorer. And then obviously a new manager come in, Paul Cook. And like all managers, they come in with their own ideas and their own players who they know and they want to bring in. And he ended up shipping out a lot of the players that were there previously and brought a whole new batch in, which is a manager's choice. I don't hold no grudges about that. That's what he wanted to do. We had a couple of good conversations, a couple of Barneys about it, but again, that's football. It's what happens. Lucky enough, I'm thick-skinned enough to take it on the chin, and it was frustrating because I wanted to stay there because it's a massive club. The thing is with Portsmouth, it's a bigger club when you're inside it than it is outside looking in. The club is massive. The infrastructure is huge, and I was lucky enough to play for such a great club for a year and a half. And I got a lot of time for the Pompey fans as well as the Crawley fans are amazing as well. But it's one of those things. Football, new manager comes in, gets rid of the old, brings in the new. Life goes on.
Yeah, that's a really good insight into what it's like to be a pro striker and all the competition that goes in that goes on in amongst that role in the team. That was the last question that we got in touch with. I just thought I'd like to give you the last word. Anything you'd like to say to the fans? I'm sure they're loving watching you scoring all the goals in the streams at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's amazing what you're doing, and it's amazing for the fans to relive, that iconic season that the club had. I wish the fans all the best. I wish Yemsy and Bradders all the best. All the staff down there, all the players, all the fans. I really wish that they can recreate the season that we had either next year or years to come. I'm sure with Yemsy at the helm, it won't be in the too distant future.